Hey, welcome back to another 31 Days of Horror 2015 segment. I'm back again with Lesley. Yes, I told you she'd be back.
So soon.
Yeah, right away. Who would have thought? And today we watched something a little different. The 2013 film from Larry Fessenden. Beneath. Ooh, spooky.
It's not spooky.
Not spooky.
I have to clarify.
No, it's not spooky. Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know Larry Fessenden, he's done a ton of movies. I think his big claim to fame that most people would probably know is Wendigo. But yeah, you look it up. I mean, even I think I did a 31 Days of Horror past years where there was at least one Larry Fessenden film in it. I Sell the Dead, actually, I think was what it was. Yes.
I Sell the Dead?
I Sell the Dead.
Was it good?
It had potential. I thought the film would have done better as a television series. But yeah, like Derek Monahan and maybe Angus Scrimm was in it. And you don't know any of these names, so why am I saying them? I don't know.
Maybe they know.
Maybe they know, yes. But look up I Sell the Dead and you'll know.
I'm going to look it up.
You probably will. But back to Beneath, where, as the tagline says, terror lies just below the surface. Terror. The terror of the giant carp. That's right. This is a killer fish movie. But not Killer Fish. That was a better movie. Honestly. No, this is a film about some teenagers, recent high school graduates, who are getting together for a last hurrah because they're all going off to school or not going off to school, but they're going to part ways, and it's really the weirdest group of friends because they don't really seem like they should be friends. And you get your standard dichotomy of characters. You get your jock character. You get your apparently token lesbian.
She was a lesbian?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't you get the whole part about...
Well, they were talking about camp.
About, yeah, with us at camp type thing. Oh. And how he was not, he was like, she was... when the guy was hitting on her in the back of the car, and he was like, no, I'm not attached to this. He was referring to becoming a woman.
Okay.
And then you get the blonde ingenue, the pretty girl, and what is it? Oh, the
nerdy guy.
The nerdy, though they have two nerdy people in this kind of technically. One is a very attractive jockey type, apparently supposed to be an intellectual who's got a full scholarship. So he's supposed to be a nerd. And then you get the geeky one who's, he's into film. He takes his camera everywhere. He's going to be a big time director. And then I almost I want to, because he had these native qualities, almost like he was native Indian, but I think he was white.
I don't know. I think maybe one of his parents or...
He may have... there may be some native in him, but he definitely had that look going about him in terms of the way he dressed and stuff like that. And to a point where the area they're going to is almost like... You almost consider it like a sacred place to his family and certain people. It's got a secret that they know of, but the townsfolk and the people in the area only kind of hear in rumors, but nobody believes. But these guys actually know, and they're sort of like the protectors of the lake almost. And so they go to this lake, and the whole point that, this, we'll call him the native character, he's thinking they're, we're just going to party, we're going to go across the lake, everything will be great. Won't have to run into any of the problems, and we'll get to the other side, we'll have a party, and, it'll be a good last hurrah. But apparently, people in the boat had other thoughts, and so they decide to go swimming. And that is essentially the end of these people, because once you go swimming, the giant carp wants to eat you. And instead of saying, there's a giant carp in the water, because who's going to believe that? He's just like, you shouldn't go swimming. We need, it's getting dark. We need to light a fire. Some of the lamest excuses I've ever seen. Honestly, if he was this concerned, if it was me, I just would have grabbed the oars and just paddled to the other side and let them be like, whatever. When the giant fish shows up, you can swim over and join us at the party. Or, you can die, because I said we should start a fire and you need to get out of the water. Or I would have said, there's a giant carp, I'm taking off, you guys can do whatever you want. But that would have been me.
I wouldn't have been in the water.
You wouldn't have been in the water, so you wouldn't have had a problem. Yeah. But yeah, so... yeah, essentially, that they run into the giant carp. The giant carp immediately kills off the token minority, if you think about it. Everybody else is, if you don't consider the native person native, is just white. But she would be a lesbian. So she is not straight. She would be the minority, right?
I guess.
She technically would be the minority in the group. Instead of a black person, they killed off the lesbian right off the bat. Which I will say to Larry Fessenden, that's the bad thing to do. You had 2 female characters in this movie. You killed one right off the bat. And then it was like, okay, so now there's only one female character and the rest are all guys. And it's like, who's your target audience for something like this?
Geez, that's what. Yeah, there's no nudity.
There's no nudity. There was no sex appeal. You killed it off right off the bat.
Maybe that's why I kind of liked it.
Yeah, maybe. Who's the target audience? It couldn't have been young teenage boys, because that's all you left in the boat. So maybe he was going for the homosexual crowd. Maybe. He killed off the lesbian and left men and one woman.
Yeah, because you know what? When you think of that, like, I can't remember the titles, but there's a lot of movies like that. They're stuck on the raft. They're always stuck, right? And then, of course, they're all, like, getting half naked and everything.
Yeah. So, the hunky guys, they're getting their shirts off. The geeky guys, who you probably wouldn't want to see their shirts off, they don't take their shirts off. So, really, all the sex appeal went towards the men at that point.
I didn't even think of that.
Whether that was intentional or not, who knows? Probably not. Probably not at all. But you never know with Larry Fessenden. I've met the man. I've talked to him, and he has some crazy ideas sometimes, and that it could have been one of those things that he had, going through his mind when he was putting it together. You never know. Anything is possible. But yeah, so then after that, it really, as much as I say it's a killer fish film, the killer fish isn't really the main point of the story. It's just a reason to keep them on the boat. It is the danger. This film really is about the character study and the people on the boat and how they react to this killer carp. And the fact that they can't, get away, the carp's going to kill them. Essentially, every time they try and do something, be it with, they try and paddle, the carp eats the oars, carp bashes into the boat, it starts leaking, so they're starting to get, panicky, and their real characters start to come out, and it's clear that almost everybody in this film has some very serious character flaws, and there aren't really too many characters you can actually like. And I think that's what Larry Fessenden was really going for. Everything else, we're just yanking on your chain, Larry. Just yanking on your chain. But yeah, without getting too much into it and giving too much away, because obviously to actually delve into everything and give away character portions and who they really are and their flaws I would give away too much of the film and that would be it. But since Lesley is here, I'll let her talk and say what she thought about the film.
I didn't hate it, which is rare. It was not that bad. Like, you look at the cover and you're thinking, oh my god, really? Well, this is what I was thinking. That this looks so fake, and look at that fish, and I just thought I'm going to see that fish and I'm going to just be laughing my head off because it's so fake. And then,
And
it is. It really is. It looks, it looks like that.
That is the fish.
Yeah. But it didn't really bother me that much that it was so fake. Which
Because,
like
I said, it's not the main focus of the film.
Right. That's the other thing. I didn't like how I wasn't rooting for somebody, There was only that one guy who I kind of was like, oh no, please, please, Does he make it? Does he not? I don't know. But there was only that one guy. And I didn't feel really bad, when everything else was going on. And I think you kind of need that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was one of the big mistakes that he made, was even though he tried to kind of give you a character that you could root for, he really didn't.
No.
You only just root for them because they're only marginally better than the other characters in the film. And maybe that's what he was going for. Maybe he wanted a film where you wanted every single character to die and you wanted the killer fish to live. But if that is the case, he definitely should have done a better job on the killer fish. Because it is quite laughable.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big eyes, giant fake fish. But it is real. There is a real fish. It's not all CG. So,
what?
As in a real prop, not yes, they used a real fish, a giant fish. No, as in, like it was something that they created and made, so it was physically in the water and stuff like that, rather than just making a, some kind of CG fish that sort of.
I think they should have maybe done that. It might have been better.
Well, there are moments of it, but it's oddly enough, it's the moments that are the most realistic in terms of what the fish looks like, and I hate to say that because I'm such. I will champion physical effects over CG any day if they're done properly. The best physical effects are better than the best CG effects for the most part, in my mind. But some things are done better in CG, some things are done better in physical, and in this case, I don't think they had the budget to really pull off a really, really, really good fish prop. But that's okay. Like I said, once you see it, you get your laughs out. You're like, oh my god, that's the monster. But the monster's always that. So it's not like the next time you see it, you're like, oh, it's that creature again. It's funny. No, you're just like, I've already laughed. I've already laughed at this creature. That moment's over. And it just does the same thing over and over and over again. So you're, like I said, it's not the focus. It's not the focus of the film. It's just there to have a problem that these people have to face. And yeah, I don't know. There were things that kind of irked me, and I'm sure that kind of irked you about the film. My biggest problem was the fact that this is a very, very tiny lake. No matter how you shoot this, no matter how you do your camera work, any person who can actually swim could swim from one side of the lake to the other 5 minutes max, maybe. And this boat is, say it's in the middle of this lake, so maybe 2.5 minutes to swim from where it starts together. But no, they do paddle. They paddled for a certain portion, so the boat should technically be closer to the shore. And then once the paddles are gone, they they use other things. They use their hands. That there is paddling and paddling motions continually being happened throughout this film.
They don't know.
And it's, what's the runtime on this?
90 minutes, I think.
90 minutes. So we'll say character development, whatever, maybe a half an hour, right? So there's like maybe an hour of paddling, and essentially the time period in the movie is actually, we'll say, afternoon, noonish, 1 o'clock is when they probably arrive. You think?
When it doesn't get dark,
right? And then it ends at nighttime. So you figure this is end of school.
Well, see, this is what I was wondering. When you think end of school, like, June, right? But then you're saying, oh no, it's going to be too cold. It's going to be too cold. So I'm thinking, was it like right end of there, or was it closer to when they'd be going back to school?
No, the lake water would be cold at that point, right? It doesn't really get warm until you're, well, it never really, lake water never really gets warm. But nobody was really dressed for like cold weather.
No.
So I would say, yeah, it's probably June, right? So you think about it, you got long days, right? Sun is coming, it's getting longer and longer days. So yeah, they were on that lake paddling for quite a while, and yet somehow the boat never managed to move anywhere.
No, but she said at one point, like, what are we going in circles or something, right? Remember she said that? Because she even realized, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, I think that was eventually Larry's probably at some point went, yeah, you know what? I think people are probably going to clue into the fact that this boat hasn't moved, yet we keep saying that the boat is moving, so how do we fix that? With one line, apparently. I think we're going around in circles. The boat would have to do this. I don't think anybody. It's like a rowboat, okay? If you've ever been in a rowboat, for it to go around in a circle, they would literally be coming closer to the shore at some point in time to do a circle. At which point, somebody would have been like, "Oh, maybe we should get out and walk," because that's how close you would have been on this tiny little lake. And I'm not even going to get into the science of a giant, and I mean giant fish, in a tiny little lake. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but you're not thinking about that.
I know, you're not thinking about that. But somebody would. Somebody will. Somebody out there who is into biology, who is into fish, maybe you're in the fisheries, and you're like, I know something about fish. That ain't going to happen. And that might take you out of it. That's okay. I understand. I feel you. But you can't let it. You just can't let it. You can't dwell on the fact that A, there's a giant fish. And B, it wouldn't be able to live in a lake like this.
A lot of things took me out of it because I kept thinking, like, certain things in my head. Well, oh, come on. Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing this? Right? Because, after a while, they're doing the same things. It's like, aren't you going to try something a little bit?
Yeah. That's kind of... Admittedly, another problem I had with it was the smart one. The academic person in this group turns out to be the dumbest person in the group. He loses all the oars. Now, I get the difference between, like the street smarts and the book smarts. I get that. But if you're book smarts, you generally don't look like this guy. This guy is outside. He's an active person. He's probably on the football team.
Well, that doesn't mean he can't be very smart.
No, but it means he's not book smart, like just book smart. He has social aspects to him, right? Yeah. Like he has a social life. That's the thing, right? So to do really, really, really stupid things like he does really showed a lack of intelligence. So I'm beginning to think he cheated on his SATs. That's the only thing I can think of. And it wouldn't put it past him with his character, right?
No.
Like, not at all. essentially his big brother is the the jock character, and so you can understand he's always behind him. He's never the one in front of the camera. It's always his brother who's always got the limelight. So how do you try and get past him? Well, maybe you cheated. Maybe that's how you get your good grades and stuff like that. Maybe you beat up the class nerd or something like that and forced him to do all your homework. Who knows? I wouldn't put it past this character. Not at all. Without giving anything away.
Oh yeah, because now I've got this whole other scenario in my head.
And you start thinking, you start picking, and it's funny because none of this is in this movie. Like, we've got this entire other thing. We're trying to create backstories that aren't in this film, and anybody who's seen it is being like, probably going, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can understand. But if you haven't, you have no idea what we're talking about.
Sorry.
Yeah, we were kind of off on a tangent here, but it's hard because you're trying to explain what's going on in this film, and as a character study, things degraded way too fast. There is no love for your fellow human among any of these friends. So to actually call them friends, probably the wrong word to use.
Yeah, and not even, I mean, I don't know, but you'd think you'd have better empathy and everything for just even an acquaintance or, than these people.
Somebody you've known, yeah. I mean, the biggest part was, you think about it, was the jock with the camera director dude, and that was after the fact, and it was like, it just seems so out of place. You start learning about these things that it would have been like, well, maybe if we had have seen this prior, and I think that's one of the problem. They could have really had stuff before them driving up to the lake, where you saw these people actually being friends, actually interacting with each other, being, together and doing things and helping each other. Because then there's you start seeing, oh my God, these people have flipped because of this, problem that they've found themselves into. And there's this, well, there isn't a slow, but there should have been a slow progression towards, the final outcomes. But no, you don't have any of that. So automatically you just hate everybody, and they literally they're sociopaths.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, that's probably what he was going for. I'm sure that in his head, this is what he's writing these characters. He doesn't want any of them to be likable. But at the same time, I don't know that necessarily makes for a good movie.
Maybe that's why the first one died first then also, because she may be the most nice or normal person, because she, about the ore, right? Like she says, you're going to need this, even when
she actually seemed to be one of the more intelligent, quirky, kind of fun people.
Yeah. And she was concerned for them even when she was hurt, right? So.
Yeah, so, and considering what she must have been like a nurse or something like that, like going for nursing,
because
right?
she knew what was going on. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that would explain why you kill her off first. Kill off the likable character first. I guess that makes for good movie.
Not really in this case.
Not in this case, but you said you enjoyed it. You liked it.
Well,
what would you rate it?
1 thumb.
1 thumb?
Yes, my thumb rating.
You're giving it 1 thumb, yeah. Yeah.
Only because, okay, for sure it wouldn't be 2, because that's just crazy. And 1.5 even, like, no. But it's not horrible. And, I wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't horrible. It was okay. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a big Larry Fessenden fan. I think a good portion of his movie making seems to be that he's just trying to get some money. He's trying to make these movies. He's trying to get some money. So they're all low budget. He turns them around pretty quickly, and he makes a lot of them, right? And he has good ideas. he has a lot of good ideas, but his follow through, and I think it's one of the problems is I think he produced, wrote, and directed the film. I think he probably did more than that, but he tends to do that on all his films, and it's not everybody is a good writer, not everybody's a good director, not everybody's a good producer. And so if maybe you're not good at any of those things, then you should probably stick to one. And I think Larry, he might be a good producer. He does. I think he probably would have to be if he's doing this many movies. But
well, maybe it's better when you have other people doing it too, because you get more collaboration.
Well, I think that's it. Like you have other voices, and people have, they put forth their opinions, right? So if somebody else writes it and then you're directing what they're writing, then it's both of you sort of collaborating on the story, right? Whereas if you're writing it and you're directing it, unless the story's great, then it's never going to get any better, because it's all up here, right? You've done it. That's your story. This is what you're making. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's one of the problems here. He had an idea. He wrote that idea down. He got a location. The location kind of worked. Kind of. But because it's a low budget film and you spent most of the budget on the fish because it's really big, you just have to roll with it. In terms of actor, I didn't recognize anybody in it.
Me either, but that doesn't surprise me because.
Well, no, but usually with the young one, like when you see younger stars and stuff, usually you'll find they're on television and stuff like that. Where they end up on television. Yeah. So I don't know if I can't read any of that. It's red on black. Sorry, look it up. Beneath, you'll see the actors and maybe you'll recognize some of them. I didn't.
So you didn't say what would you rate it?
What would I rate it?
Because maybe I need to change my thumb rating system to stars.
If I was going, say, out of 5, maybe a 2.5.
Okay, because I was just thinking I would do 2.
Right, so, yeah. I mean, I would say it's watchable. Yeah, that's which is better than a lot of things I've seen. But I think Larry Fessenden's films generally are watchable. Some of them tend to be a little bit better than others, but they all sort of fester around the same area. They're passable. They're a bit better than the films that are just made to fill, what used to be video store shelves, where it's like, whatever, we've got a week to shoot this, put it on the thing. We'll put some great cover art on the front, and people will go out and rent it, and they'll gobble it up, and we'll make our money back. And those are kind of the movies we kind of love now because nostalgia, I guess. I don't know, because we love a lot of really bad movies. But they had great cover art, and...
That's not great.
It's got a monster on the front. Rawr.
Well, I don't think it's great. It's okay.
It's all right. You kind of know what the film's about.
Although I think the fish
right?
looks better there, I think.
I don't know. It looks about the same. It's just drawn instead of being a picture. But yeah, that's Beneath it. Honestly, I'm not going to recommend you go out and see it. But if you're, looking for something and it happens to be on Netflix, Show Me, whatever, Hulu, whatever service you got, and, you're paying for it anyways, it wouldn't hurt you to turn it on. Honestly, there are worse films out there. And those services are filled with them.
Yes.
Filled with them.
I fall asleep to a lot of them.
She does. She does. So.
And I was awake, so there you go.
And yeah, she didn't fall asleep. And neither did I, oddly enough. I've only got about 4 hours sleep, max, so far today. So, that's our thoughts on Beneath, everybody. And that's another 31 Days of Horror. The Toronto After Dark Film Festival will be coming up soon, and we will be having, you're going to be there for a little bit, so maybe you'll see both of us at Toronto After Dark. Until next time, take care. Have a good one. Action.
I can't do it. You do it. So I'm like, hi, welcome to Rob's 31 Days of Horror.
There you go.
No, just do it. You do it.
Hi, and welcome to Rob's 31 Days of Horror.